Welcome. I'm Dr. Suriya Daya, an educational and child psychologist and a temporary lecturer at the University of the West Indies. Today we're going to talk about learning to relax. And usually when we need to relax, it's because we're feeling anxious or stressed or tense or feeling a bit more of those negative emotions. This causes our sympathetic nervous system, our heart rate, our digestion to all become more heightened. It might also affect our brain, like our prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, also maybe our hormones. It will release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline and cause us to go into this fight or flight mode. So we're going to talk about some ways that we can learn to relax, maybe some techniques that we can learn to relax. So another thing to remember is that when you're feeling stressed and anxious and tense, this could also not only impact, yes, we know on ourselves, but it can also impact on members in our household. What's even more important to remember is that we have to be aware of when we're feeling these negative emotions and when we're feeling stress and when we're feeling tense. I think that awareness is then what causes us to pause in our steps and do some of these techniques that we're going to speak about next. So first, we're going to talk about the intentionally orienting ourselves in our surroundings. And this is because when we're feeling tense or anxious or stressed or feeling other negative emotions, that usually our bodies are so consumed with these emotions that we almost forget where we are. So I think once we can bring ourselves back to our surroundings, like having a look around. Right now I'm sitting in a chair, I'm at a desk, there's this door behind me, just becoming more familiar, or not even familiar because you're already familiar with your surroundings, but more aware of your surroundings. I think that helps us to recognize just our immediate environment. So bringing some normalcy to that. Another thing we can do is grounding, what we call grounding. And grounding might be something as simple as placing your feet on the floor or the ground, feeling the back of your chair, maybe feeling the clothes on your skin, just almost connecting the mind with the body and our senses and being more aware of the senses and the sensations that we feel. So some people also like to go outside and maybe just go barefoot on the bare grass or the mud, and they call that a kind of grounding as well, which is connecting back to the earth and feeling that whole mind, body, soul connection to the earth. Another thing we can do is breathing. And when I say breathing, I just don't mean regular breathing. I mean mindful breathing. So what I want us to do is I'll go through it with you. Breathing is a very good relaxation technique, and it goes hand in hand with mindfulness and meditation. And what we'll do is we will just breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. And that's in through our nose with a count of 4 and out through our mouth with a count of 7. And what I want you to do is, if you can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open too. If you can find a quiet space, that's great. If you can't, because there are lots of people in your house during these times, maybe do it together or find a little spot outside, maybe, I don't know, if you have a patio or a front yard or a backyard or somewhere a little quiet. And I want you to feel maybe your chest rising when you breathe. Maybe you feel it in your stomach. Maybe you feel just the breath going in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just really focus on the notion of breathing. I think that's the main thing with breathing techniques, is focusing on the notion of the breath and kind of clearing your mind as much as you can from thoughts, because thoughts are going to enter our mind. We're only human. But this calls for practice, and if you have 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day to do this, that's perfect. And if you can do it every day, that's even better. So we'll start it now. I'll walk you through it. So we're going to breathe In through our nose for a count of 4 and out our mouth for a count of 7. I'll just do 2 with you, and then you can carry on when you find a space to do it in. So I'll go. And I say in with 4 and out with 7 because usually our breath coming out is a longer breath. And I really want you to do, it's almost like inhaling everything, inhaling the fresh air, and breathing out all of that tension we hold in our bodies. And sometimes that tension is quite a lot, so we need to take a longer breath breathing out. Another thing we can do is doing some affirmations. Affirmations help us to relax. It's a way of, as well, connecting, all about connecting the mind and the body. The mind controls the body. So we have to recognize the power of words and the power of thought on our whole being. And affirmations could be maybe saying a positive message to ourselves or a calming message to ourselves. And you could do this with other members in your family as well. I like to do the 3 things I'm grateful for every day. I think that really sets the mood for the day. So it could be as simple as I'm grateful for shelter today. Or it could be I'm grateful for having someone in the house with me to keep me company. Whatever your 3 things are, that's completely personal, up to you. I think that's just a really good way to tell our minds something positive, and it does have that effect on our body as well. Another point to remember is that when we're doing these relaxation techniques, it's about how do we come back to reality? Because the reality is we can't stay in that relaxed state forever as much as we would like to. So after we take our relaxing break, it's about having that thought of, okay, what do I need to do now? So coming back to reality, I know I need to go and cook. I know I need to go and clean. What is it that you need to do now? And focus on that. Another thing you can do is, what do I have control over? Now, when we're relaxing, it's nice. We're in a nice space. But when we come back to reality, I think being more aware of what we have control over. Some things we don't have control over. Like what's happening now, we don't have control over that. But we do have control over ourselves. We know we can wash our hands. We know we can stay clean. We know we can make more members in our family more aware of what's happening. I think that those are some really good things to remember. And some other things you might want to consider, because people relax in all kinds of other ways. So some other things you might want to do is exercise. Exercise is such a good way to help stress and tension and anxiety. So if you can do some home workouts, online has a bunch. We all know, we've all done, maybe if you have children in your school and they've done PE class, obviously they can help you through some as well. You can go for a little jog, maybe just around the perimeters of your house. You can do some push-ups, some sit-ups, things that don't require equipment. I think exercise is a really good way to relax, and I think a lot of us use it to relax. Maybe other things like reading, watching TV, listening to music, playing with the children in your household, connecting, having those bonds. I think using this time as a relaxation method, maybe cooking together with people. Also staying connected. I think in this time, a way to relax is staying connected with people, because we are in this isolation phase right now, and it is a bit uncertain, and it does cause stress and anxiety in all of us. And staying connected to our loved ones, our friends, our families that aren't in our house, whether that's pick up the phone and call, whether that is doing something online if you have that, but staying connected. Maybe it is shouting to your neighbor across the road. But staying connected to people, I think, is a very important thing. We all need that at the end of the day, that human connection. And I think that's important, an important way to relax as well without even realizing that you're relaxing. One way as well to relax is by not doing something, and not doing things that we know that might cause stress, or that might cause anxiety or tension or anger, is the media. Disconnecting from the media for a while, I think, can help a lot. Listen to the factual information. Listen to when Ministry of Health and our government brings across information. But other than that, don't go crazy on social media and the other media outlets and the other things that are happening in this world. I think disconnect. If you want to, watch it for a bit, but don't watch it for the entire day. Don't watch it for hours and hours, because that causes us so much stress in our bodies. And then we have to think of recognizing that stress and going back to square one on how to relax. So I think this is a great time where we are in a position that we can connect with ourselves, connect with our minds, connect with our bodies, and connect with other people in our households. I think those are really good ways and solid ways to try and learn to relax. Or maybe there might be other ways that you have that maybe just work for you, is finding about what works for you. Maybe it might be playing with your pet. Maybe it might be learning a new skill. Maybe you never knew how to, I don't know, paint a step. And now you're going to decide, if you have some paint and a paintbrush at home, to go and paint the step at the front of your house or the back of your house. I think these are just some ways that we can learn to relax. You just have to find what works for you. Thank you.